Today, I'm going to show you a structure of a neurons and how information is transferred from one neurons to another's. To do so, we're going to use Play-Doh. So we're going to use a blue for chemical signal for the communication of between communication of neurons, and then we're going to use a green and a pink, orange pink for the two neurons. So I'm going to start with the pink, but the person who's sitting next to you should have a green Play-Doh. So each one of you should have or a green or an orange pink one. So I'm going to start making long strings with the Play-Doh, and as I said, let's make like maybe 4 long ones. As I said, the person next to you with the opposite colors, so if you have orange, is gonna have blue, you guys should be working, building these neurons next to each other's, because the orange neurons and the blue neurons are gonna communicate to each other. So it's important. It would be easier, that's what I'm saying, it would be easier if you guys work in close proximity. So when you have to move the neurons over, it's gonna be faster. Okay, so what are neurons? Neurons are highly specialized cells that we find within the central nervous systems, and they are specialized in intracellular communications. I made a little bit more than 4, but that's okay. Here we go. And as all the cells in our body, all neurons are gonna have a cell body or soma. So let's take one strings and make a nice little circles, and this is gonna be our cell body. Actually, just because it's gonna be easy later on, I'm gonna make it a little bigger. Let's make it a little bigger, okay? And like make a nice circles like that, and we are gonna start building our neurons. So as I said, this is the cell body or a soma, and it's gonna have, of course, a nucleus. Let's make a big nucleus right here, and then all the organelles that you are familiar with from cell biology or just biology in general. So you're gonna have a ribosomes, and we have this tiny little one here, and I'm just gonna use it to make an endoplasmic reticulum just for fun. Here we go. So this is our cell body. And then from the cell body, we are gonna take some of those little strings and start building start to edit them from the cell body. So those processes that stem from the cell body towards the extracellular space, which is going to be our table, are called dendritic processes or dendritic branches. And if we want to add complexity to our neurons, we just need to add more of those branches. Here we go. And more complex is the neurons, more informations is gonna come in and will need to be integrated. So this is our, here we go. Let's make a few more. Here we go, one and another one here. So this is the dendritic arbor. And the dendritic arbor and the cell body are important for receiving information. So this part of our typical neurons, it's important for receiving inputs. Then the inputs are gonna come in, and then they need to find a way out. And the output is the longest process that we made, which is the axon. Here we go. And the axon can be as long as a few millimeters if we have to communicate within each other's, in close proximity, local communications, or it can be as long as 1 meters, which is about 3 feet. And for instance, neurons from our spinal cord reaching our feet are gonna be about that long. So at the end of the axon, we have what's called the axon terminal or synaptic ending or synaptic button, which is basically sort of a triangular structures like that. Okay, so now that we have our neurons, and this is important for transmitted signals, right? The output. So now that you have your orange neurons, I want your friend, your partner, to come in with the green neurons, okay? So I am going to slide in my green neurons. And then here we go. We try to leave, I don't know if you notice, I try to leave some room around the soma because that's where I'm gonna have my green neurons communicate to the orange one. So as you can see, there is my dendritic arbor. And now I am going to take my axon terminal and I'm gonna put it right here. How about like that? On the cell body. So it's gonna communicate to the cell body. And I'm gonna take the axon, which is right here, and go to my cell body of the green one. And here we have two neurons talking to each other. And the unit of communication is this one that's called a synapse. So we have a green neurons that integrate the information through the dendrites. The information goes out through the axon to the synaptic ending, to the axon terminals, and this is called the presynaptic cells. This is the synapse, before, presynaptic cells, and then it's gonna talk to my orange neurons, which is the postsynaptic cells, who's gonna receive the informations and then go and transfer this information through the axons to the next cell. But how the information is transferred, it's through what's called chemical signals with what's called neurotransmitters. So neurotransmitters are packaged into vesicles. So I'm gonna take and make, here we go. If you have some extra, I'm gonna take and make some little round shape like that. And those are my vesicles in the axon terminal. Then I'm going to take the blue one, and with the blue one, blue Play-Doh, you are gonna make some little balls. So little balls are gonna be our neurotransmitters. They're gonna be packed within the vesicles. Here we go. And this information is gonna be released, but they need to talk to they're gonna need to transfer the information through what's called receptors on the postsynaptic membrane. So I'm gonna make them a little bit more like a sort of a carrot shape. So take your little balls, make it a little carrot shape, and those are gonna be your receptors. Receptors are made by more than one subunit. That's why in this case I make just two. And I am gonna add them to also my other dendrites, right? Because I told you the information can come in at the cell body, but also through the dendrites. So what I'm gonna do, I am gonna add them also to my other cells, because what's happening here is gonna happen to my other neurons too. Okay, so now we have some receptors which are on the postsynaptic cells, and now my neurotransmitters are going to be released into the synaptic cleft, which is the space right here, and they're going to be released through exocytosis. So the process where the vesicles is going to get fused into the membrane and the neurotransmitter is going to release. So why don't we pinch it right here and open like that, release my little neurotransmitters. The membrane of the vesicle is gonna fuse. This one happened as well. And then, oops, here we go. And then the neurotransmitters are in my cleft, and they're gonna bind to my receptors, and this is the receptor is gonna open, and information is gonna come in and transfer through the axon. And so what happened here can also happen through my through all my dendrites. Next, we're gonna look exactly in details what happened at the synaptic cleft, so the synapse communications.